Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're taking a walk through the garden to see how things are looking toward the end of May. We had a few hours of rain this morning, which was perfect. It washed all the plants off, they don't look dusty, and even made the unmulched areas that we haven't made it to look nice and dark and fresh. This side has been mulched, so huge shout out to Paul, Bethany, Nate, and Luke, our crew that helps us out here in the garden. Without them, we would not have a nice looking space. So they do a lot of work around here, especially as we've added more to our garden. It's just awesome that we have such good help here. So we're just starting here at the opening of the south garden. Look at, first off, Erin's grass. You're doing a good job on the grass, Erin. It looks so good. Like the best year yet, because how long has the grass been here? Is this its third year?
Yeah, I think so.
So first year, of course, you know, it's tough. It comes up kind of patchy and then you're just kind of working on getting things thick. And same with the second year. I feel like you're kind of working out some of those spaces. And now this year, it feels like there's very few patchy areas. Like it's all filling in and it looks really good. There's some really beautiful things on this side. We'll just head down this side of the walkway first. We've got some ginger wine 9-barks that are in full bloom, looking absolutely gorgeous. And I don't prune these. You can see they have this kind of natural, a little bit of a wild growth habit and kind of a vase shape. When you prune 9-barks down, it can kind of, it messes with their shape and they don't ever really fully recover. And these have just been left to their own, like this is them on their own, and I think they're beautiful. We have Cat's Meow Nepeta here and some beautiful hardy geraniums in bloom. I'm thinking, maybe you guys can give me an opinion. I'm thinking this would be a really good spot for a little fountain, like a fountain that's got a back to it maybe. You can't see the big fountain in the flower garden from this, like as you're looking into this spot. I think having a little movement, a little water would be good. This right here, this is verbascum. I started this from seed, and you guys know how it is. Anything you start from a seed, you're extra proud of. I think they are just the most gorgeous flowers. And even the honeybees are out on them right now, and they kind of go away when the rain comes out. So that's fun. And the Arctic Fire dogwoods have formed an absolute hedge, a wall. I don't know what the tag says they get. This might be bigger than what the tag says. They really like this spot. The Rise Up Amber Nest roses are just starting to bloom here. You can see in here these beautiful amber, kind of yellowy roses, very, very soft and beautiful with this Procumbens blue spruce. More Cat's Meow Nepeta right there. Boy, if I do every plant by name, this is going to take us forever, right? So let's, I guess, move a little faster. We've got some silver lining Artemisia right here, or silver bullet, silver lining, I think. And then we've got the delphiniums that we transplanted from the cut flower garden to this location earlier this spring, and they're doing great. They've all rooted. This one's a little bit further behind, but they all rooted, and that's the important part, and some of them are going to be blooming. And then the Lady Gardener roses right here, which we transplanted from the brick patio area. Look at this. Look at how delicate and beautiful that is. Especially pretty with all the water on the leaves. Love it. And of course, the view this direction. I am so pleased with this area, you guys. Sometimes when you envision a plan, you can't really, I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't come out how you envisioned it. And this one kind of exceeded my expectations, to be quite honest. I mean, we don't even have boxwood hedging yet, just the little baby boxwoods in this area. And I love the whole structure and the simplicity of it, really, at this point. We are going to add at least one more type of plant into this area this summer, but I think largely we're going to leave it just fairly open and just think about what we want to do, how we want to plant up each one of these quadrants, and just enjoy the formality in the meantime. There's something so peaceful about that to me. I mean, I love this, you know, overabundant, just kind of willy-nilly planting sort of style as well. And I think that's why it works so well for me, because they're near each other. They can kind of be a beautiful contrast, I guess. But I like to have this area where it's just like this peaceful landing space with all of the jumble sort of surrounding it. Let's see, I think we could just go this way. We'll go kind of back through this area backwards. But we just recently planted up these pots. I love the pot placement. I love what's in them. We've got agara here in the center surrounded by kufia. There's some James Britannia. This one's the Safari Dusk, you guys. If you see this one, you should try it. They are good in pots. They are good in the landscape. They've become a fast favorite of mine. I've been able to plant them for the last 2 or 3 years, and they're really great. But our raspberries are doing wonderfully. We've got a ever-bearing red variety in this bed, and then the fall gold, the gold raspberry in this bed. And then our blackberries are also doing really well. I can see that these are later blooming. It's kind of interesting to watch their timing, I guess, of the different varieties. So these are, which ones are the triple crown variety on this end and triple crown on that end, which are later bloomers than the ones we have here in the center. So we'll probably have a little bit earlier berries here, later berries there. And the grapes are doing phenomenally well. I mean, we pruned these back hard this year, and they are just loading up. I mean, we're gonna have tons and tons and tons of grapes here. Look at that. These are the red Suffolk variety. They're a seedless red table grape. We have the salmonberry there, experiment. And then these are the white Niagara. And they are a seeded grape, but we use these for juice. And they make a pink juice, and it's fantastic. Okay, back through this way. Gosh, there's so many different pockets and areas to look at. We've got some gorgeous Baptisia. This is the blue bubbly variety right here. And these were the hardest holes I think I've had to dig on this property to date. Like, I could smell the smoke of the drill when I was digging these holes. I was kind of nervous for these plants, just hoping that they would survive because I knew how hard the soil was around them, and they clearly are loving it. Right here, we've got our little hedge of currants. We've got a black currant and 2 red currants here. And this is one that was gifted to me by one of you guys. Dropped it off down at the garden center, a start from your own garden, and this is what it's looking like now. Isn't that fun, how we can share plants around? And I think that's just so neat. We've got our rhubarb here that we transplanted from the cut flower garden. Do you know what this means? Samantha was probably out here. Little trowel. This right here is just going out of bloom, but you can see how glorious it's been. This is the Jolene beauty bush, right, Aaron? Right. Not beautyberry, we had to look that up. Beautyberry is the one with the purple berries, but this has just been a fantastic performer, and I'll show you another one on the other side of the south garden. But we've also got a string theory Amsonia, was also a much more like bright blue color, and that one's kind of going out of bloom, but it's kind of perfect timing because we've got sedum, we've got phlox in here, Stokes asters, and then I planted a bunch of Supertunia Vista bubblegum in this area just to brighten it up a little bit and create a real pretty pink carpet. I think it'll be really nice right there. That kind of shoots us out over here, which I've got a lot of work to do in this space, a lot of area we have to fill, which is fun. Look at that lemony lace elderberry. Look at how that shines. Just amazing. We've got 3 President Lincoln lilacs and perennial border that I need to work on desperately bad. Things are looking a little like I need to cut back the checker bloom and kind of clean up the lamb's ear. You can see I had a little section of lamb's ear die, so I need to dig some that spread back there and fill in the gap and just do some of those things. And then these are the alliums we planted this year. I'll be interested to see what they do from year to year. They stay short, just like this, but they create, when they are in bloom, the blooms are huge and they're white. And you can see this is what's left over afterward, but they've got a really interesting texture. Like it doesn't make a sound, but it's hard. See all that? Like those are kind of a hard deal. I thought that would be kind of neat to try out. I've got a couple of vines in the high tunnel that I think I'm going to plant on this arbor. I was going back and forth. I thought, you know, roses would be gorgeous on here, but they're a little bit fleeting in their blooms, and roses do really, really well for us. So I feel like I would have to be trimming on them a lot to keep them, you know, formed up on this arbor. So I think I'm going to go with something that does not have blooms, but will create a really beautiful fall color. And so we'll do that project here soon. Our catalpas, look at how much growth they've put on since we cut them all the way back. Isn't that amazing? And we've got a topiary here, a little flower topiary that Bountiful Farms sent out to us last year. I haven't planted up the base of the pot. That's a volunteer Superbena down below it. Yeah. Oh, gotta show the rose from this side. This is the reminiscent pink Highly recommend this rose. Look at this. Oh my gosh. In several different stages of bloom here. Look at how gorgeous. And the growth habit. These have been in the ground. I think this is their third growing season. So they've had 2 full growing seasons before this one, and they just form up this really pleasant shape. I mean, they're not throwing out really wild long arms, and they're just loaded up with buds. The south side always blooms first, and then the north side's coming on here pretty quickly.
Man, look at the amount of buds.
I know. I mean, yeah, we'll have to get out here when this is just in full peak because it's going to be amazing. And then, you know, right over here, we had annuals, this whole area packed with annuals last year. And, you know, sometimes I want to continue on, like I'll probably do some annuals along the border, but sometimes I purposely skip some spaces. This might be one of them because it forces me to think about more permanent plantings if there's not something there filling the gap, because I would like to get some shrubs and things going in here. Like maybe a hedge of hydrangeas would be gorgeous right here. And I think they'd be perfect. I've got maybe some Incredible, the new ones.
I feel like hydrangeas would do better on the north side of the tree.
Oh, you might be right. That would be pretty though, wouldn't it? We
Yeah,
could
it'd
do
be pretty. I think it's just
paniculata.
the wrong side of the tree because it would get full-blown sun.
Yeah, the arborescens hydrangeas are a little bit harder in our full sun, but we could figure out a paniculata situation here.
Yeah.
That would be so pretty, having a big arc of those through here. Something to think about. I really like how this space is filling in. You know, we've got some, I think this might be the pink potion Veronica. And then we've got some denim and lace Russian sage throughout, some midnight masquerade penstemon. I love this perennial. It brings that depth of color even when it's not in bloom. And then we've also got, this is a quick fire hydrangea. So we do have some hydrangeas through here. And this is the Eryngium we started from seed. So they get the blue, they look kind of thistly. I kind of like that texture, but they're not pokey. And they get those beautiful blue thistly looking blooms that are great for dry arrangements, and they just last forever out in the landscape. Right here, which this is a pretty view. I was noticing though, we do need to level up our urn there, but it's really nice, the layers right here. This is the Flavorette Honey Apricot Rose. Oh, look at this right there. And then once it's open, a little bit more and a little bit more. This one also has a very pleasing growth habit too. That sun actually feels really good out here. Iris that we transplanted from another area in the garden, and it was here in the garden when we moved in. So being able to shift some of the things that we needed out, like of the north garden, and moving them out here has been such a treat, because look at this. I mean, imagine too, when it was in full peak bloom, there's a lot of spent blooms at this point. I mean, that was essentially 3 plants, right, to move out here, and that took up a huge section, and it takes it up beautifully. And this section of iris doesn't brown out. You know, a lot of bearded iris tends to get like dry brown tips. It hasn't yet. Like last year it stayed green after we deadheaded it, and it looked beautiful with that texture, was perfect. This is a new little patch of perennials we planted this year. So we've got the new delphinium, which they've been through it, and two, once we mulch and kind of clean up stuff, it does look a little bit better. But that's a newer variety. Then we've got is that back in black, I think, sedum, and then there's a new penstemon right here. So I think this will turn into a gorgeous spot. I do want to swing around this side because there are some pretty things. We do have one of this is a 2026 National Recipe of the Year. Do you remember what it's called? It's got the Supertunia Mini Vista White, the Hoopla Vivid Orchid, and the Violet Ice Superbena. It's a gorgeous blend. We've got a pink rose that I cannot remember the name of right here. A couple of barberries, but this is the corner. And it's starting to fill in. I usually do annuals right here, which I plan on doing again. And I had some chamomile that kind of died out. I was giving it some time, but I'll need to clean this out. To be easy to do and kind of fill this in with some other color. But we've got this beautiful salvia, which maybe we can pop the name on the screen because I cannot remember what it is. It is not Pink Profusion. It is not Back to the Fuchsia. It's a lighter pink variety. But we've got the Ann Folkard Hardy Geranium. We've got Ambassador Alliums. These came from the boxwood hedging that we had in the north garden before we put in the dream stream. Do you remember that? We had those boxwood like kind of half circles with the interior that I planted up with Globemaster alliums, and then those ended up being too short. So I added in the ambassadors and so that we could see them above the boxwood hedging. And when we were planning on tearing all of that out, I just couldn't. Alliums are not cheap. I couldn't stomach losing them. So we dug them all out, moved them out here, and look at them now. So fun. And this is one plant. This is a soapwort. I had planted more and we just didn't get drip run out to them fast enough, but this one survived. Isn't that amazing? This is what I planted on the west side of the dream stream, like the berm. So that whole side kind of leading back down to the barn should be filled with this at some point, I'm hoping. I just think it's the most beautiful late spring bloomer. And we've got right in here, it's that lilac variety of hibiscus. Is it lilac crush or lavender crush, something like that? Big lavender blooms. That's these right in here. And they grow so much that they cover this. Like you won't be able to see all this menagerie on the ground. It works out perfectly. And then along this back side, we transplanted one of our roses from the rose garden right here. I think this might be a South Park variety. There's Montana moss, juniper, Mr. Mustard spirea, black lace elderberry. We've got Peter Cottontail yarrow right here. Or is it just Cottontail yarrow? Probably. Look at that, looks like baby's breath. But it's a super reliable perennial. And then we already were right over here. So we've got the Kodiak fresh Dervella. There's some honeyberries, which, yeah, look at this. Lots of honeyberries on here. The birds haven't found them yet. We get questions about our strawberries and like, you guys don't cover your strawberries? Don't the birds just attack them? We've never experienced that, but they attack the honeyberries. It's like they're moth to a flame. They love them. I don't understand it. This is another 2026 National Recipe of the Year as well. Supertunia Saffron Finch, Safari Dusk James Britannia, Tropical Sunrise, Super Bells. It's a pretty blend. Okay, let's head back to the strawberries actually. Wanted to stop off real quick at the fountain. I don't know if you guys noticed when Erin did drone footage the other day after this whole area was mulched, you might have seen that the fountain looked red. We think that some fertilizer got into the water, but it didn't stain. Like I can make finger marks down at the bottom, so we just need to clean it out. And it's all working. I don't know, what did you guys figure out? We didn't get any replacement bowls or anything like that.
Yeah, I came through and I just tightened up. There's well, right here. I tightened that up. So I think that's where the water was
like,
getting
did you
out.
plug it in?
The plug, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was funny because somebody at Campania emailed and was like, you know, well, here's the little things to check, but it was kind of one of those, like, if your lawnmower's not working, like, check the gas tank.
Yeah, right.
So I think that was maybe the majority of our problem.
I feel like that every time I'm like a little bit negative about anything, I always regret it. It's never worth it to be negative about anything because most of the time I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's a situation when I am. Okay, so back toward the strawberries. There's a little bit more color on the Mini Vista Plum veined in here. Looking really nice. Oh, taking the walkway like I should be doing. I guess I'm not used to him being there. We do have a nice crop of bindweed, I'm noticing, starting to come up. This has been the hardest quadrant to keep bindweed out of. Like, slightly considering landscape fabric as we plant things in here. So that's really the only way you can get rid of it without spraying it. Okay, we've already been harvesting strawberries, like handfuls every day. So I don't know if we're gonna find, we harvested last night. So there might be a few. Oh yeah, there's several. Look at these. First year, looking amazing. There was one real huge one. Where did it go? Did we pick it last night? We might have. Oh, look. That is a seascape strawberry. And my hands are like, they're not super small. That's a massive berry. Just awesome. I'm leaving that because the kids will freak out when they see that that one's ready to be picked. This is the best decision ever, having these tall raised beds built. The best. And Samantha has absolutely no problem. That was one of the questions, like, is Samantha tall enough? Yep, she can spot the red berries. She's out here picking right along the rest of us with the rest of us, and it's just so nice to do this where you're not hunched over or bent all the way over or on your knees harvesting them. So boy, if you ever have the option to do tall raised beds for this type of crop, I highly recommend. Everything's doing real well in the orchard. In fact, I need to get out here and bag our apples because they're starting to get bigger. I need to thin all the fruit trees. It's just such a time-intensive project. I haven't had a chance yet, but look at this. These are Honeycrisp apples and the whole tree's loaded. Loaded. And the nectarine, absolutely loaded. Look in here. Like, I just need to come through and just start popping fruit out of here, which is kind of kills me to have to do it. But I know it's better for larger fruit and better for the tree as well. Apricots are loaded. This plum, absolutely loaded. I love that. We'll pop around the front side here. I did put a couple little perennials in this flower bed. I have not obviously focused on any of this up here. Maybe we've got some boxwoods and pots, and I just couldn't decide if I do want to have some things up in front here. But I think along the sides, which I planted a clematis and I planted some bleeding hearts, it's just hard with the grass. I think we'd have to move grass sprinklers, wouldn't we, Aaron?
Well, we've got a zone set up. I think it'd be totally fine. Well, I guess what are you asking?
Well, I was just wondering because there's grass growing right up to the structure. Is there a sprinkler we'd have to move?
No, it's not. See how it's a little more brown right there?
Yeah.
It's really not getting a lot of water right there.
So I could like cut out to at least here.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make it bad for you mowing either. I mean, like I don't really like real shallow beds, but
I think that was the original intention, is that we had a zone ready to be able to water that. And the sprinklers are not really hitting it, which is why it's a little more brown right there.
We'll add this to the list.
Yeah.
Then I need to weed it and all that. I can see grass, real tall grass growing up in there. Got another apple tree, and our peaches are loaded up too with fruit. Oh, this south garden, I just can't even believe how much it's filling in. The chamomile looks amazing right now. And we did pop one of our containers. This is not a national recipe. This is one of mine that I put together, just kind of random stuff. But I had planted chamomile that we started from seed in this whole area, but this little swoop just didn't come back. It like seeded itself all the way around and didn't come up here, which made it perfect because it looks like this is just floating in this sea of chamomile, and I love that. And the Fama Blue pincushion flowers also started from seed. That would be pretty to kind of carry those over. We need to start some more. And we've got lots of pretty things in here. I have not made it out here with annuals yet, which is what we did out here last year. I had pink cashmere superbena in here, and then a ton of supertunias and superbena in this space here. But overall, like the structure, especially on this side, I'm really happy with. It's just the filler stuff I need to work on. This side, however, is one that I need to work on. I'm going to pull these out. These are the Boom Chocolata geraniums. Every year, powdery mildew. Anyway, and we don't deal with powdery mildew because like today's rain, it's not like that every single day. And we don't have, we have a lot of wind. We've got lots of airflow. So we typically don't deal with powdery mildew, but I do on that one every year. So I need to take that out and then just kind of reform the edges of these beds, add some stuff in, subtract some things. Just one of those spots that's been a catch-all. Over on this side, you can see the big, beautiful black lace elderberry. Just loving its life over there, as well as the Shade Master honey locust, doing so well. And I love the addition of the Leyland cypress in there. Just getting some really good different shapes and structures in here has just been so much fun. Right in here, I think we had annuals along the edge as well, but look at these peonies. We transplanted these from the North Garden before the pond went in. There's 3 of them in here. All 3 of them took to the transplant really well, and I was worried for them, especially this one, because this one was big when I moved it, and it completely flopped. The whole thing flopped over, and I had to cut it back. But it's doing it. Really looking pretty. Now this corner right here is probably, I have like little pockets that are my favorite all over the garden, but I love all the different color, all of the different texture in this area. We just planted this Illuminati. Which one is it? The Illuminati. We just planted it the other day. Anyway, it gets about 4 by 4. I love the placement of it. It's going to be backed by hollyhocks, which are coming up. We've got, big bunch of daylilies. There's a Tickle Creek birch here, black lace elderberry, another Jolene. This is the one I was talking about. Look at how pretty this all is together. There's a red fox katsura right behind, tree right there. I just am impressed because when we got these, I kind of thought, well, I don't see these around very much. Like maybe they like more acidic soil. They're probably not going to do it in our garden. And you never know. Sometimes you just like stumble upon a winner. The Bordeaux is looking really good. I don't think it had any color when I planted it. I think it was completely green, and now we're enjoying some blooms. Limelight Prime Hydrangea is looking great. Blue Sky Serbian Spruce put on a ton of new growth this year. It's looking very soft back in there. And I did recently plant a black lace elderberry, so we'll have another big bulky shrub back here. Now I need to figure out what I want to do right here, because we do have quite a lot of space in this area, but I do love how like everything, there is a little space. Like you can walk around through this area and you should still be able to even when things are at their maturity, and I kind of love that. So I'll be thinking on this, but I do want to pop out toward the front just so I can give you an update on the gate. We were worried for this spruce. It like mostly turned brown and we thought, oh no, like right at the front of the property, dang it. And it just pushed a bunch of new growth. Several of our trees have done that this year. I don't know what the deal is. And it seemed like most of them, not this one is like overall brown, but most of them were just brown on the west side. So I thought, well, maybe it was like wind in the wintertime or something, but most of them have pushed new growth. Okay, so our gate. I don't think I've really talked about that this spring. We did go pick out, or we checked in on the bricks, that we want for the pillars, and I think they've got them on order or they're picking those up. And we are on the list. We are on the masonry guys list to get these pillars built. And they will be 3 foot, I think, right, Erin? 3x3? 3x3 brick pillars that will be fairly tall-ish, and we're gonna have lights out the front. And then we'll have a big finial at the top. There will be, because you can see the foundation, the brick will be here. We're gonna have like a little custom black iron piece made once we know the exact measurements so that it bridges the gap between gate and pillar, but we had to do that in order to make room for the arm so the gate could swing, all that business. So that's still on the docket. We are going to be tearing out grass on this side because you can see it's not watering very well right here. So we're going to figure out how we want to tear the grass out. And when we do that, we'll take the grass all the way out back to the gravel and we'll landscape all of this so it will sort of mirror the other side. I think that'll be fun because we can do some real fun annuals up here. Also, you may have noticed the mail vault, which honestly isn't quite big enough. And it's kind of chunky, even though it's smallish, it's kind of chunky right here. And I want, as people approach, for you to see largely the landscaping that's up here and not a big mail vault, which you could have a brick thing, and that's what we were thinking in the beginning. Have a brick structure built around it that kind of mirrors the pillars. But I think what we're gonna do instead, and I'll show you what we're thinking when we get behind the barn, I think we're gonna have a little shed built that mirrors the small shed behind our barn, that also mirrors our flower shed, and we're gonna have it tucked in right here. And it'll just say like deliveries or something, and it'll actually have a real door, and it'll be tucked back a little ways, which I think will also be really sweet to landscape around. And it will kind of fix the problem of that not being large enough for the bigger boxes, and it won't be so front and center, if that makes sense. One thing we did do, actually Erin did, which I think was really awesome, our fence used to go out to the road. And so what people would do, because it felt so tight here, people would pull up, and then to back out, they would come and back down our neighbor's driveway. And by taking out one section of fence, it opened it up enough here. Most everybody is backing up the way we were hoping they would, where they come up and they back down our service road. They don't go onto our neighbor's property, and then they can easily pull out. So far, it's working well. I do notice we need to probably take off a couple right there. Our neighbors are so great to work with. They're okay with us doing a little trimming if we need to. Okay, let's pop back out into the grass. Right in here, it's filling in beautifully as well. I love having the bench out here. We've got some Baptisia in this area. This is the larch we put in last year that fried in the middle of the summertime, and then it was brown the rest of the season. I'm hoping it does it okay here. Typically, larch trees, they're a little bit more of an understory tree for us, and they don't like our full sun, unless, I mean, maybe once this roots in or you find the perfect spot, they might do it. So we'll give this one some time, but I really love that one. And you can actually see, maybe, can you see the pot from here? So we put another one of the 2026 national recipes right there. Just kind of tucked it into the flower bed. It looks really pretty from the other side. And you can see through here the beautiful patch of iris, another patch that I transplanted from another area of the garden. And you can see, peaks of annuals from along the lane through the flower bed. This is pretty. We've got some hyssop along with a beautiful peony here and James Galway rose. Also, the Impressionist rose. This rose, oh my gosh. I think it's like the little addition of kind of that purple note underneath the petals. It kind of gives it a distant drums vibe. It's a climber and it's absolutely beautiful. This obelisk, every windstorm, we're out here trying to, I need to replace that. That needs to be like a timer on my phone. As soon as we cut back roses, I need to replace this obelisk or fix it somehow. We've got some real pretty perennials in here. I'm so happy with this rue. This is a newer variety. It's called Cotton Candy. And we planted it in the summertime last year and it just sat there. It didn't do a whole lot and the leaves kind of burned. And I knew it would probably just need some time to root in, but boy, I did not expect this year. So, so pretty. We've got the Back to the Fuchsia Salvia here. Stand By Me Clematis. The Lemon Meringue Baptisia. Oh my goodness, there are 5 of them right here. And that creates quite the impact in this space. We've got drops of Jupiter oregano there. And there's some other really pretty things just getting going. There's the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. This is the Bit of Honey Heliopsis. So it'll have yellow flowers later on, but I think the variegation is really pretty. It shows up really nicely. I also popped some hanging baskets in the ground right in here. I had 4 of them. So I just popped them in there and I think they're gonna look great. I completely fill in that section. And we've got some Illuminati Tower mock orange, which this is the best year for them yet. They kind of sat for a couple of years and didn't really do anything. I almost took them out. So glad I didn't because, oh, they're so pretty. And then we've got a Ringo, double Ringo, right? Ringo double pink rose. Never can remember that properly. And then I actually started this project yesterday. And so you're gonna see this project be completed like the evergreen will be in the ground before you actually see this tour. But we had this beautiful moment of overcast that we thought, let's get out and do the tour. So anyway, we're kind of in process at the moment with this one. But this is gonna be just full of annuals. We've got 7 of the new panicle type hydrangea called Powerball, I think. And then just filled in with plain the blue salvia, sparkling amethyst, superbena, and there's some gara in there. And this will be planted. Finish that after we're done with our tour. And that kind of sums up our south garden. So let's head toward the west side. Okay, the area leading up to the house real quick, I just wanted to give you an update. You can see the boxwoods have been moved up to this area. We are going to do this project, but we've got a specific list of things that we want to do, and we want to finish the area behind the dream stream first. Get all the pathways in, get the grass going. When that one's done, then we will probably tackle this, which means we're going to probably be working in this area in the middle of summer. It's going to be hot, but I'm excited for it. It's going to be great. I want to show you these At Last roses while we're here because they are peak looking amazing and they're huge, just absolutely massive. It was on my list to move these this spring, but we've been like rocking, like we've been moving stuff and planting stuff. It just hasn't happened yet, which is totally fine. Look at how gorgeous these are. Oh my goodness. Like looking from this direction specifically, like let me change spots with you. Look at that. And then the view behind with the fountain and the tree. They are just amazing. And they've got such a deep green glossy leaf all the time. And these are on the south side of our house. So they get full sun and the radiant heat from the house. And they just do really well. Couldn't be happier with these. I did have some other hanging baskets. This is actually the 2026 National Recipe of the Year. And I popped them in the ground because I just thought that would be so pretty underneath these limelight hydrangeas. And all of these plants should do really well in this spot. This Japanese maple right here, I think I talked a little bit too loud and it heard me. I was thinking about taking it out because last year it just seemed like it was struggling. It's kind of misshapen. It was a broken one down at the garden center. And back when we very first moved in here, and I was like taking all of the plants I could get. It didn't matter if it was broken. And we put it in and it did okay for a while. And then anyway, the best year yet. It looks so pretty. I mean, from that angle. I guess from this side, it's got a little bit of a lopsided nature, but who cares?
Well, it looks like it's reaching toward the sun.
Probably. That's all right. It gives more room for our hydrangea right here. This side of the west side, which we will end up on that side at some point to give you an update there, but I feel like it's filled in really, really nicely. I need to come over here and do a little bit more maintenance. We do have a ginger wine, 9 bark here that I'm considering taking out because it does get too big and it wants to keep growing over. I just liked the color here. And until I figure out what I actually want here, I'll leave it. And it could stand to just be cleaned up a bit and that would help. But anyway, I don't know. We've got some more of our bascum in here. This is a different variety than the first one we looked at. I love this. Can't remember. I started this one from seed as well. This one's more of a robust plant. It's bigger. I might just like this spot a little bit more. We did a 30-second planter in this container. It's got a tut grass with the tiara blue supertunia and the double smitten pink super bells, which is probably one of my favorite super bells. I just love it. And it's easy. That one was already planted for me. I just had to pop it in a container. We've got a oh so easy paprika rose right here. There's an azure snow salvia. I like the bicolor here. I got more of these to plant out. And then look at our hostas. This is the best time of year for hostas for us because they still look really fresh. This is the Woo La La. Look at how huge these leaves are. And the variegation, they're just gorgeous. And then this is, I think, a Helena or a Diane witch hazel. It's got more of the deep kind of mauve colored blooms. This is a not Woo La La, Empress Woo hosta right here. Look at this. Hostas don't normally get this big here. These just really have adapted to this spot beautifully. And we, haven't had a lot of the dry heat yet. Usually that's when we start seeing a little bit more burn on the leaves and a little bit more wear and tear from the wind. But oh my goodness, I just love them. The hardy geraniums too. In fact, Erin, maybe let's switch spots real quick because I love this view right here as you're looking down and you can see the Galloway urn. You can see the hostas and this beautiful hardy geranium right here, which I think we planted maybe year before last. It could have been last year. I would love to repeat this exact variety. So I need to go scrounging around in our videos, see if I can find what variety this is. I love the purple flower. And this is another hardy geranium right here. It's got more of a light pink white flower. They just do so well in sun or shade. They're just really adaptable that way. Okay, now I'll switch you again so you don't have to walk backwards. Right this morning, I think Bethany made it through this whole bed and got all the daffodils out. Because this is the first time I've noticed it without daffodil foliage in there. It looks great. And now we can come in. I've got some coleus. I've got some other things that I would like to put in this area. And our incredibles are looking amazing. Just phenomenal. Look at how loaded this whole hedge is.
They're taller this year.
Yeah. I feel like this year has just been a good year. Things are just doing really well. Or maybe they just, some of these things have been in the ground long enough to where they're finally feeling like they like it. Another Empress Woo hosta right in here. Our tricolor beech is looking amazing. Look at the colors here. Now on the tag, they say they get 25 feet tall by, I can't remember how big. Here, they're more like, we treat them like a Japanese maple. They're more of a small ornamental tree or a shrub, a large shrub, typically, because we can't put them out in full sun, they burn. So we have to find a spot like underneath this maple is just absolutely perfect. And then they don't grow super fast, so we can easily keep them pruned to size. They've got a poppy about ready to
pop.
Yeah, about ready to pop. This is a real pretty big salmon pink one. Like Victoria or something like that. I do want to hit the kitchen flower bed, but I wanted to show you this right here because I really love how this area turned out. We had pansies in here and the Dusty Miller. We left the Dusty Miller and put in surefire white begonias, lemon coral sedum along the edge. It's just so peaceful and I don't know. There's something about it. It's like a more clean color palette. Is that the right word? Clean or like a modern color palette maybe? I don't know. I like it. Which I repeated in this whole area right here. So I left most of the stuff that was in this container because it was just looking so good. The Carolina Sweetheart Redbud, there's still hellebores in there and the heuchera. which remains to be seen. We'll see on this heuchera if it can handle the sun from this side. If it can't, we can pop it out and put something else in there. We can put this somewhere else in the landscape. But I cleaned those up, and then we just added a few surefire white begonias, the dichondra silver falls, repeated some of the same things down here, and then also repeated the flowers in these pots at the corners. I just think it turned out really pretty. Okay, let's head back to the kitchen flower bed. We're starting to see a little bit of color here. We put in some of the pinkerific dahlias. Look at that. They were completely just buds when we put them in. And I love the color here. So we've got a new ginger wine 9-bark. You can tell I like that variety. I just think it's such a pleasant red. It's like a coppery, real pretty red. And then I also put a little quick fire hydrangea in along with some rockin' deep purple salvia. There's some stratosphere white gara, pinkerific dahlias, and then supertunia bordeaux along the edge. And I think it's just going to be a gorgeous show. And I've been really enjoying these pots too. They're just, I used a lot of callas this year. We've been using a lot of begonias. I had another 30-second planter that had the 2 Rex begonias, the fuchsia and the euphorbia, and I kind of tore it apart a little bit so that I could put a centerpiece. So we've got this calla in here, and I think this is going to be gorgeous. I've always loved this spot right here, just full of hostas and heucheras. There's some sweet woodruff in here. Also some Bronera, hellebores, lots of different things. And this area is still quite open. This is another area we will be working on this year as we, have a chance to do so. But yeah, lots of opportunities for some fun plants up there. The columbine are looking amazing right here. Look at this. This whole bed is just completely full. Now, these were here when we moved in, not to this scale though. They were kind of to themselves back in there. And I just have enjoyed them so much that I've let them seed themselves and just kind of completely take over this bed. I mean, we had enough room up here when we moved in that I had planted hydrangeas, a hedge of hydrangeas behind the boxwoods. And they ended up not being able to, they weren't super productive and they were dwindling because they weren't getting enough sun. But it worked out perfectly because a columbine just kind of took them over. In fact, I think there still might be a hydrangea in here. Yeah, right here. It's like I can't breathe under here. Should probably move that out. I love these pots. This might be my favorite year. I mean, I'd probably have to go back through to double check, but I just love this mixture. Fairy Trail Green hydrangea, double up pink begonias in all 3 pots, lady and red fern, some wire vine, and a calla on both sides. I just think this color combination is beautiful. I love the fern texture. The Fairy Trail Green is amazing. These are a spring blooming hydrangea, but they'll hold their blooms. So we'll see. If I don't have any experience, this is a brand new one out, I think this year or next year. We'll see if the blooms change color. We'll see what they do up here. I'm really looking forward to that. The Persephone garden looks real pretty right now. The Globemaster alliums are rocking. Looking so pretty. Look at that. And honestly, these Sprinter boxwoods made a pretty surprising recovery. They've lived quite the life in this area. They started off as little quick turn, like little itty bitty baby boxwoods. Then they grew into a nice hedge, and then we had a horribly bad, was it a rainstorm or a snow or both maybe, that just weighed the branches down and misshaped the plants. Then they got spider mites, bad, so bad that the plants looked white. So I ended up coming in, was it last year or the year before? And I took these down. I was going to say shorn them down. That's not right. I used my hedge trimmers and I cut them down hard and thought this is the last attempt to make these look nice. They responded really nicely to that. So I'm thrilled with that. But we've also got some of those new gen boxwoods, the Independence and Freedom. I'm so excited to try those out. We've got those out by the high tunnel. I'm going to just go over here real quick. Then we'll look at the pansies. But this whole space is just so pretty. And this is a newer-ish space. These things I planted 2 years ago. We've got oak leaf hydrangeas, lots of hostas, some heucherella. There's some acarus grass in here. This is the Love Story hosta. In fact, I just posted a picture of this on Instagram because they are so pretty. Especially pretty with this Japanese maple right behind. And then there's Russian sage and sedum that were here when we moved in, and they're still doing it even though they don't get a ton of sun. There's the Gatsby pink oak leaf hydrangea. around this way. I won't walk all the way down, but we've got, you know, Stonehenge dark druid yews, and we're going to be developing this flower bed area as well. The yews look amazing in this protected area, and I'm wondering, we'll see how they do. You know, eventually we'll be able to tell how much sun they can really take, because these look way better than those out there. Behind this boxwood hedge, we've got a couple varieties of phlox. We've got the opalescence phlox and the ultraviolet. They do so well over here. We also have a poppy that's a great big white one that's got kind of black detail in the center. We've got some Kodiak orange gervellas, the June snow dogwood, and we still have the boxwood hedge we need to take out. And that's kind of what I'm waiting on to continue developing or thinking about what I want to plant in this flower bed up front. I think I need those boxwoods gone to do that. Kind of need to blank slate it and then build again. Now, these violas and pansies, they look so good. I have the plants that I'm going to be planting in here for summer. I have them in the high tunnel, but I think I'm going to work on everything else first. I think this will be the last place I probably plant because I'm enjoying this so much. This is a, is it sorbet lemon or something like that, viola. And then these are the lavender shades pansy. Now, none of these plants will go to waste. They all go to Bethany's house. She plants all of the things that we take out of our pots, bulbs, anything like that. So she'll dig these out and take them home eventually, but they just look so pretty. I love the blue and yellow mix. Okay, let's head over here to the Hebe flower bed. The boxwoods look nice this year, really pretty. Another big flower bed we have to work in. I'm gonna have to figure out, because it's so deep now, I'm gonna probably want to put something in here that's a little bit more structural, little bit bigger, and then move some of this stuff out. But we got to that point in the spring where I thought, well, let's wait until we can enjoy the blooms here, and then we can start restructuring. But the Morden Blush roses, they're not standing as tall as they were before the rainstorm this morning, but I didn't prune these at all. We did not cut these back from last year. In fact, you can see the hips from last year. So they're the biggest they ever have been, and they produce the biggest hips of any roses I think I've ever grown. So typically what we do is we let them bloom out like this. We might deadhead the very first flush of blooms and then let them bloom one more time. And then we leave them, and we don't deadhead them because we want to have them to have time to form up their hips so that we've got that interest out here, both to be pretty out here, but also to cut for arrangements later on. But I love the rose in and of itself. It's really pretty. New Julia Child roses looking awesome. My goodness. I feel like I could probably do one of these. It's probably, yeah. Well, it was way worse. I didn't stake it up in the beginning, and it was just laying over like the other ones where I should have just staked it from the very beginning. But yeah, I think I'll come through maybe today and tighten this up just a little bit. But the blooms are fantastic. They look so good. And we're seeing more color here in the parterre. You can see the Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia with the Superbena red. And then our red purple blend here. We got all of these pots done. And the dahlias are starting to pop. And I'm loving it. Such a fun mix. The salvia just needs to kick it into gear, but I think it needs just a little bit more heat, which we have a 90-degree day on the forecast, so we will get the heat. Isn't that pretty though? Oh my goodness. Just love it. Surprising. Even to myself sometimes I think, oh my gosh, we did plant a lot of red in this area. And it's not like jarring to my eye at all. Usually when I do something like that, it feels so out of character. I don't know, maybe I'm just changing a little bit, but I just love it. And the annuals back here too. We've got more of the Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia, Gara, Lemon Coral Sedum. The Zephyrin roses are blooming real pretty. We will see those from the front here in a minute. But I did want to walk in here, talk about the stream a little bit. We did plant up the whole berm. If you look down this way, you can see all of the annuals we have going. Also, this is a penstemon called Rose Rhinestones. I think I'm going to move that. It's a little bit bright. It's an amazing perennial. I'll show you the pink pearls. It's a little softer. I like that one a little bit more, but it is eye-catching, isn't it? The Nemesia has been really pretty. The pond is still completely full of string algae, full disclosure, but the stuff around the pond's looking really good. The water clarity is actually really, really good. It's perfect. You know, you can see down in here, you can see all the way to the rocks. And they say that water clarity is harder to get right than the string algae. So I'm thankful that we're not battling water clarity issues. It's just the string algae, which we've got more tilapia coming. What do we have, 40 more coming? So Greg's like, let's just hit it. Let's just hit this string algae with everything we've got. So we've got 40 more coming. And, you know, it is looking a little better.
Yeah,
Like,
I want to say it is actually.
Yeah.
Even though it looks terrible. But it was worse.
It was. I mean, I couldn't even see the rocks in this section a week ago.
Right.
So maybe the, 10 or 12 tilapia we've got in here are actually doing it. You see the koi coming out from underneath the log?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Though, I mean, look up through this area. Look at the maturity that we're already seeing in some of these plants and how beautiful it is. I love seeing the seeding area and seeing the water movement over by the waterfall. Just the whole thing is so pretty. Okay, right through here, following the walkway. I don't think I'm gonna really go back through this area. Do you wanna walk through this area? There's really not a whole lot. Like I said, this is actually the next project. So we're gonna start the water system this week. Wait, what week are we in? Next week. Next week. So we'll be able to start the lawn in this area, which means the stone pathway, we'll be able to continue on with that, and then they'll get all the sand in it. So once this is buttoned up, then we'll move on to, the next big project. But I'm really looking forward to it. And seeing the big locust trees and the evergreens that went in on the berms here, it's amazing how much that just changed the whole feel of this area. And you can kind of see the bones of the whole area start to come together. Love that. Okay, through here. Look at that view. Gorgeous. And this is one of my favorite. I love this. I love walking over the water to get over the stream. Now this is the pink pearl penstemon. Look at how stunning this perennial is. Look at that. And now this one's much softer than the rose rhinestones. It's a little less red. Like that one is a little bit more red. And this one is just so gorgeous, and it blooms for most of the season, and it actually maintains its leaves. Like it's a semi-evergreen for us for sure, because these I planted last year and we didn't cut them all the way back. I just cleaned up some stems and left the bottom leaf canopy there because they still looked good, which was kind of amazing. But it's an amazing pollinator attracting native perennial. Okay, and I got a few more over here, but look at this whole area just filling in, doing its thing. This is another evergreen that we thought we lost. It looked horrid. I mean, it's not prime, but it's looking a lot better, and it's pushed a bunch of new growth. So maybe it just needed a second. Erin, what do you think? I think the string algae looks a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's receding a little bit.
So
maybe the tilapia are eating more.
I see like 6 of them down in there. Also, I just repotted a couple of tropical water lilies that Greg sent out. There's a big old bag down in there, so heavy. These bags are like this big. And so Aaron had to get in here with his waders, and I was standing over there, and Aaron, you kind of like shifted it on the water. We were able to get it down in there, but they're both night bloomers. And I'm very excited about it. And that will fill in this hole like quickly, like the lily pads will fill in on the top of the water and will provide some shade, which will also help with string algae. So, I mean, this whole thing, you might look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're going, through that. It's just one of those things. And Greg, Chris, the whole crew, they're bending over backwards to make it work and to try to fix the problem. And we're all learning from it. So it's interesting, honestly. And I still love it. String algae or not, surprisingly. I think it's because this year I was more prepared for it. Yeah, sure. Look at the teucrium back in there. Isn't that pretty? That blue? That was here when we moved in. That was part of the flower bed underneath that birch tree in that skinny little 3-foot flower bed that we had over there. And that's lived. Everything else I think is brand new in this area since we've been here. Chamomile that we started from seed, and I didn't clean it up. Never raked it, nothing. And I kept walking by it thinking, oh my gosh, I need to get a rake out here and clean this stuff up. But you know what? Nature, it just kind of figures it out. It's awesome. It finds a way. Look at these. This is a recipe for this year called Ireland, right? I think it's called Ireland. It's got the Bidens and super bells and a lantana in there. And I had some hanging baskets that came with our annuals, and I just thought, you know what? Instant impact. However, I was noticing when you're standing, Erin, if you go to your right just a little bit, this is the view down our entire, like from our gate. I'm looking straight at the center of our gate. We need something right here. Don't you think?
Like what?
Well, I don't know, like I don't know.
Like a ballerina?
Well, no. Like maybe it's, I don't know, a statue is not in keeping with the pond.
No.
But maybe like a big boulder. Something that stops your eye.
Sure.
So like a boulder with some kind of plant behind it. Like
Yeah.
a grass or something.
Well, I thought about putting a camera there so you can
Oh,
see
really?
who's coming.
Well,
we don't really need it. We've got so many others.
could you put a boulder and then just pop a camera right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a boulder would be perfect here. I can't even believe those words are coming out of my mouth right now. Let's add some more rocks to our garden. I've changed. Okay, where we're gonna head next is the raised bed garden and then down the west side. And then I think we've hit it, pretty much all of it. You know what, on the way to the west side, there's actually a few more spots I wanna show you. Starting with the chicken coop area, because the zephrines are looking amazing. Look at this climbing rose. It's a thornless climbing rose, highly recommend. It really, like it blooms out beautifully in the spring. There's tons of buds yet to go. It'll go for weeks. And then it lulls and then it does push more blooms. It's never as much as the first show of the year, but the fact that it's thornless is awesome. And I love the color. And the plexi has all been removed from the chicken coop so I can see all the chickies. They're getting really good air in there. But boy, I love having that up there for the winter time. You wanna see the babies? Hey babies. Hey chickens. Hey big chickens. Do you think you're gonna get to come out? See, watch, she's gonna go straight for that. Oh, geez, no. Absolutely, nope, nope. Here, can you stand guard at the door?
Sure.
You are brazen, is what you are. Get yourself in there. That's why they're still in the coop. I don't know what it is about the lemon coral, but it's like they're looking at it from in there, just coveting this plant. Just really wanting to get after it because they do that every time. Anyway, rock and deep purple salvia. I've been repeating that in a lot of beds because I just enjoy that color so much. There's some Gara in here. Look at the vivid violet starting to open up. The dahlia and lemon coral. I only have like 2 lemon coral plants left and I could use it everywhere in this garden. Next year, lemon coral is where it's at. I think I'm gonna be heavy on that. Whatever. Yeah. It just makes such a tidy, bright border. I love that. Okay, also I wanted to point this out. Paul just got through tilling this. I painted a line. We're gonna be starting this flower bed. It'll be mostly probably annuals at this point while we decide what we want to actually do in here long term. But we do know, like Erin, you want a tree, like right in.
Yeah, I don't like the roof. So I kind of want to just have a big tall tree that blocks the roof.
Like 2 or 3 trees, or just one right here that gets wide?
Maybe
or,
just, yeah, maybe just one
think like
or
maybe,
2.
What if we put one like right here?
Sure.
That way it's a little bit.
Just something real big. I'm imagining like limbing up the branches. Yeah, the canopy to where you can see all the windows, but it just blocks the roof. So maybe like a tree that gets, 30 to 40 feet tall.
Okay. What if we did a tree, a deciduous here, and then some kind of an evergreen that kind of hides the hose link in the wintertime?
Sure.
So if we had those 2 kind of anchors, then this year we can just fill in with other annuals and then figure it out from there.
Got bright all of a sudden.
It did. Okay, one other thing. This right here is the little hut. This is our well hut. So our well hut is in here and it's insulated, and we run like do you run like a little heater in here in the wintertime? Because everything's, yeah, do you want to show inside here? Yeah, because a lot of the pipes are up above ground. So it keeps it from freezing in there. But I wanted to show this to you because I did say I would. Because we are going to be mirroring our deliveries or mail hut up at the front, kind of like this. So this is a smaller version of our flower shed minus the windows. And for our deliveries, it will be like an actual human-sized door, like a standard size door. And we might have a couple windows on that one. It'd be cute to have window baskets on it. something like that. But we'll have the shake roof. It'll be white. It'll mirror the same kind of style. So we kind of have that throughout. I like how that turned out. On our way to the raised bed garden, I just wanted to give you an update on the lamium that we dug and moved to this area way earlier this spring. Look how gorgeous this is. I really wish we would have done this the first year we were here. I don't even remember if there was anything in here the first year we were here.
No, I think it was just a big, thick bark.
Oh, that's right. It was like the big chunk bark.
Yeah, real big chunky.
Yeah. Anyway, I just absolutely love the lamium. There's a couple varieties. This one we transplanted from our garden. The other side, the more silvery, came from a friend's garden, and we just filled it right up. It looks amazing. Our raised bed garden is doing well. I kind of wish we're like right in between blooms on this Hollywood hibiscus, which I love. I've loved these so much. You can see that they're completely full of buds. And I mean, the big pink flowers, they're so eye-catching. This one's gonna, let's see, open today probably. So loving that. We've got some broccoli. Look at this. Look at that. And I love this right here, like no bug damage yet. I hate even saying those words out loud, but yeah, the plants look phenomenal. The cabbage looks amazing. The bachelor's buttons, which I've let just kind of run amok in this area. I love it. It's so awesome. I've got a few things over on this side planted. I've actually got a few beds that are completely empty still. I've got 2 peppers. I've got another one in the greenhouse I still need to plant. Here are our tomato plants for the year. Can you believe that? You know, though, I think I compensated with the pumpkins, probably. This is our herb garden from seed. We've got some peas right here. There's nothing in this bed other than weeds. We've got weeds in this bed. We've got garlic in this one. Lettuce right here that looks gorgeous. We've been harvesting off of that, which is nuts because it doesn't look like I've hardly harvested anything. Nothing in this bed yet. And we've got peas in that bed. And I've also got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 blueberry plants. There's 3 on that side. You should show this one. Whoops. This one's going to be full of blueberries. Isn't that fun? Can't remember the variety. I think that's a bushel berry. Look at the Colette. Look at how gorgeous. Sorry, Aaron. Yeah, I just can't bear to trim them when they produce so many beautiful flowers. You made it. The west side. So you can see we're right about noon at this point, or just after. The morning sun that comes in here, you get through the, like in between the maple trees, and then the stuff in front of the maple trees gets shade. And then it does get a slice. I've been watching it pretty closely. I think we'll be good this year, possibly next year with the sun plants. After these canopies get any bigger though, like, or much bigger, this will turn to shade, which I am fully looking forward to. But it's been fun watching this spot fill in. I still feel like there's holes that I want to fill in, but I need to pick some things that can maybe do sun or shade, or gotta, you know, adapt to a shadier spot. Maybe more hardy geraniums. We just go in and go hard with those because those will do either or. These are Lickfield Angel roses. Nice pink. We've got some Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. There's Lady's Mantle. I love the Mangave lemon coral blend in these urns. There's, again, that simplicity. And I know mangaves and like succulent sort of look is kind of a love-hate thing. And I love it. I think that that strong structure and the color contrast is so nice. And we're going to be able to see the full urn this year. Usually what it turns into is a planter full of, I try super petunias or super bells or whatever, and it spills over the edge. Then you don't really get to see the pots very much. And I love the beauty of the pots in and of themselves.
What if you just did the lemon coral without the mangave?
Well, I think the texture is too similar to the arb.
Oh, sure.
I feel like you need that bold texture in the center.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely in the...
You're in the hate category?
In the hate category for
really?
the
I love it. But, you know, to each their own.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
It's fun to try different things. Glow Girl Spirea. I love that plant. And I'm not usually a Spirea lover, like as a whole. That one, love it. We've got some Mary Rose, which we transplanted from behind the gazebo. Like way back when. There's more hardy geraniums. There's delphiniums that are coming up. There's Midnight Masquerade penstemon. There's some Stand By Me clematis. I mean, all the colors are pinks and purples, and chartreuse is kind of what I have stuck with over here. Look at this one. This one's really going for it. Mary Rose. Oh, so pretty. Planted a ground cover campanula right here last year, and it's all budded up, looking great. Really filled it in. And then we've got the Boscobel roses, which if you look at them from this angle, we added 2 new ones, which I need to deadhead. And these were way ahead of these because these were in a high tunnel situation. But look at the Boscobel. Look at this. Oh my gosh, the scent is amazing. And you can see how many buds are all over these plants. I mean, we're probably 1 week, maybe 7 to 10 days away from peak on these. And they will be just completely loaded. And once these grow and fill in, this will just be the sea of vibrant pink. I think that kind of does it. We showed pretty much everything. Actually, I forgot. We did plant the parking area up with a Supertunia Vista bubblegum, the blue suede shoes, salvia, Syncredible sunflowers. So I think this is just going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's just going to fill in. We're going to have a lot of bright color. And that brings us right back to the beginning of the South Garden. And that is our May 2025 garden tour. I'm really happy with how things are looking. I feel like the biggest change in our space, well, as far as our time goes, having the cut flower garden be a formal flower garden instead of row crops, I've been able to spend a lot more time doing other things and shift my focus to other things, which means more spots and flower beds are starting to get filled up. And I have more brain space to think about filling in larger areas and think about different ideas. And I think that's good to do every once in a while. I enjoy that anyway. I like to shift things around. I get bored with things and I need something new and fresh. So hence the pumpkin field that we have going and some of the other things. So anyway, happy with how things are looking this year. I hope you guys are having a great May and we will see you in the next video. Bye.